So today we're diving into a story where art, technology, and conquest all collide. We're going to see how a 19th century version of viral media actually helped redraw the map of America. And we'll dig into a photographic mystery that honestly still puzzles people to this day. Let's get into it. Way before movies, before radio, before most people even had a telephone, America got swept up in this huge media craze. It was a piece of technology that could literally transport you thousands of miles away, all without you ever having to leave your couch. It was called the stereograph. The idea behind the stereograph is actually brilliantly simple. Your brain is already a natural 3D machine, right? So by showing each of your eyes a slightly different picture, just like in real life, the stereograph basically hacks your brain into seeing depth. This wasn't just looking at a picture. It was like stepping into another world. It was a totally immersive experience. And this process, well, it made the distant, rugged American frontier suddenly feel incredibly real and accessible. People sitting in their living rooms in Boston or Philadelphia could hold this little wooden viewer up to their eyes and feel like they were standing right there in the vast prairies of the Dakota Territory. Publishers sold millions and millions of these cards, and the #1 most captivating subject, you guessed it, the American West. Okay, so this brings us to a really specific and totally pivotal moment in American history, the 1874 Black Hills Expedition. And look, this wasn't just some casual journey. This was an official military mission into territory that, by treaty, the U.S. Army had no right to be in. And here's the thing you have to understand. The expedition had two very different purposes. Officially, publicly, it was all about finding a spot for a new fort, for security. But behind the scenes, the real mission was something else entirely. The country was in the middle of a massive economic depression, and the government was desperate. They'd heard rumors of gold in the Lakota's sacred hills, and they sent along a couple of civilian miners, which was a direct violation of the treaty, to find out if those rumors were true. And that name, the Thieves Road. It just perfectly captures the Lakota perspective. They saw this massive column of 1,000 soldiers and over 100 wagons, and they didn't see explorers. They saw trespassers. They saw thieves on a mission to steal their land. That name tells you everything you need to know about how this was seen by the people who actually lived there. So let's zoom in on one key guy who was on this journey. He wasn't a soldier, he wasn't a miner, he was an artist, an adventurer who was hired to document the whole thing. His name was William H. Illingworth, and the job he had to do was, well, it was almost unimaginably difficult. Seriously, forget everything you know about just pulling out your phone and snapping a picture. Illingworth was using something called the wet plate process. This meant that for every single photo, he had to coat a fragile piece of glass with this volatile chemical cocktail, expose it in the camera while it was still wet, and then immediately, and I mean immediately, develop it in a portable darkroom tent. If there was any delay, any gust of wind, any dust, the picture was ruined. It was an incredible feat of both chemistry and pure grit. And here is the result of all that incredible work. Just look at the clarity, the detail, the composition. To get this iconic shot of the wagon train, Illingworth would have had to lug his hundreds of pounds of gear, including that darkroom tent, up a hillside, get ahead of the whole column, set everything up, and nail the shot perfectly. The serene beauty of this final image completely hides the frantic, high-stakes process it took to create it. So, as you can imagine, Illingworth's photographs were a massive success. They got published back east and created a huge sensation. But that artistic success came at a really terrible cost. Because these images, they didn't just document the West. They helped create the justification for taking it. This timeline just lays it all out, doesn't it? The 1868 treaty was crystal clear. The Black Hills belonged to the Sioux. But Illingworth's photos, combined with the news that, yes, there was gold, it just ignited a firestorm of public demand. Soon, the government, which was supposed to be keeping miners out, was just completely overwhelmed, and then it moved to seize the land itself. The path from photograph to war was shockingly short. Which brings us to the final part of our story today, a real mystery that sits right at the intersection of history and photography, and it involves one of the most legendary figures of the American West. So here's the big question. Was Crazy Horse, the brilliant Lakota leader, ever actually photographed? By all accounts, he was a mystic who fiercely resisted being assimilated into American culture. He was deeply wary of having his picture taken, believing a photograph could capture and steal a part of his spirit. And yet, there's this image, this little photograph, a tintype. It just appeared out of nowhere in 1956, decades after his death. And the claim was that this is it, the one and only authentic photograph of the warrior. It's a powerful portrait, for sure, but from the moment it came to light, historians have been extremely skeptical. And when you start to look at the evidence like a detective, the case against the photo gets pretty strong. That ascot tie he's wearing, it looks more like something from a Wild West show 10 years later. The painted backdrop suggests a city studio, not some makeshift setup at a frontier fort. And maybe most importantly, there's no sign of the prominent scar on his face that he got from a pistol shot years earlier. The clues just don't add up. But here's the final tantalizing twist. A photographer named James Hamilton, who was definitely at the fort in 1877 when Crazy Horse was there, listed a stereoscopic image in his sales catalog. It was entry number 104, Crazy Horse. The thing is, no copy of that specific photograph, number 104, has ever been found. It's a ghost in the archive. So, was Crazy Horse ever truly captured on a glass plate? And if he was, where is that picture today? It's a question that reminds us that sometimes what history has lost is every bit as compelling as what it's managed to save.